TCFF is doing a Minnesota short showcase on January 23rd. So if you want to come out and see it, I'm hosting the red carpet, and it should be a fun night.
Welcome to Movie Videos with the Farx brothers. This is Kirk.
I'm Kyle.
And we're joined by Lori Roovers, model, actor, and producer. Today we're going to be talking about The Substance. This is a non-spoiler section. It's a little bit rough, but I landed that plane, I think.
Yeah. Just like the ending of this movie, which we won't... so, Lori, I'm not going to ask you to spoil, but are you... Like, if you had to give your thumbs up or thumbs down, was this a... I feel bad because I asked you, hey, well, we could talk about The Substance, and were you going to watch it, not having been asked that?
I had never heard of it.
Oh.
Really? I had never heard of it. And watching it, I've seen it twice now. And I would say that I would give it a thumbs up. I would give it a thumbs up. It's not a 2 thumbs up. It's a 1 thumbs up. Thumb up.
On a 3-thumb scale, that's what you have, is no
3
thumbs.
3 thumb scale?
Well, it's a no thumb, 1 thumb, or 2 thumbs.
Right.
Oh.
1 thumb.
I think something fun to, this is a movie that I asked, so I watched this first with my wife, and what did my wife say about it when you were over to watch it, Kirk? Did she give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down about it?
Wasn't she midpoint? Well,
No.
she was a thumbs up, right?
My wife was, she liked this
terrible
movie.
host.
I hadn't seen it, and I warned her, I've heard, gory and, body horror. She was like, nah, we can still try it, because she watched the preview for it. Did you watch the preview before you watched it?
No.
Oh, you just went in. Okay.
Yep.
You didn't know the concept?
I did not.
Okay. So I think it's fair then, given that, to point out that it, made almost 80 million across the globe. Only about 16 in the United States. Won Best Screenplay at Cannes. Nominated for the Palme d'Or. Golden Globes, it's nominated for Best Musical. Director's nominated. Actress, Supporting Actress. So it's Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. Best Screenplay and Critics' Choice. All those things, plus the makeup and visual effects. So just so we're this is a movie that's going to be talked about, I think, more. It's going to come out on disc after these episodes are released. So does it deserve the praise? Lori said 1 thumb.
I think that the writer-director being French and the whole Cannes thing, getting awards at the Cannes Film Festival, is because it's a hometown hero.
Okay.
Right? I think that's why they have received so much buzz, is because it all starts in Cannes, right? So the French... they love themselves. And
Hey, American movie won the Palme d'Or this year, and it's the first time in several years. Honora, but I know you haven't seen Honora.
I haven't seen it.
Totally fine.
Yeah, they do love themselves, and they don't love Americans. So I'm surprised, actually, that won.
Honora is not a positive view of America, I would say. It's about,
okay. Well, there you go.
It's about an exotic dancer that has an exciting escapade. Where do you think this movie took place?
It was supposed to take place in LA, right?
Correct.
But it was filmed in Paris.
Sweet.
Yes.
Some of it was actually filmed in Cannes.
Yeah.
Because the parts where they look like they're in Venice, or wherever in California, that was filmed by Cannes. How far is Cannes from Paris? Have you been to both of those?
I think it's southern France, right? Cannes is in the French Riviera.
I believe so.
Yeah, so southern France, and it's quite a way away from...
Sure. As you like to I know that you like to travel. Have you been to either Paris or Cannes?
Paris, and kind of on the Normandy side of... and it's a world apart. People in Paris don't have the time of day for you.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the opposite. And the people on the coast, though, were very friendly and very nice and helpful.
More touristy.
Yeah, well, maybe. Or just more down to earth and not full of themselves.
Sure.
Right.
That's probably a problem. People probably say that about the United States. Oh, do we need to redo?
No, I say I agree with that.
I don't want to say anything negative about about other countries. I am proudly an American, and I feel good.
I've just recently been there.
Oh, okay.
Actually, and I got stuck in Charles de Gaulle Airport because the French airline that we were flying on couldn't be bothered to get up 20 minutes earlier. And for our flight, they told us that.
Wow.
I've had the same thing happen in Amarillo, Texas, more than once. So I'm just, I don't know why I'm defending France. I don't care. The Dennis Quaid's character, Harvey, poo-poos on the actress being an Academy Award winner at the beginning of the movie. So it's kind of relevant to, this movie's getting a lot of plaudits, but who really cares? And you're saying, well, the French ones, who cares? It got Golden Globes and it's getting Critics' Choice. And those
it has really good points. And every detail is thought out, and I appreciate that greatly. It's definitely done by a woman because every little detail it has had a lot of thought behind it. She probably looked at it at the set a million times before she even put a person on it and said, this is the scene we want to create. Every little chicken bone that was in there. And I'm hoping that's not spoiling. So,
no, I think it's fine to say there's chicken bones in movies.
Because everything she did was for a purpose, for a specific reason.
Let's try to talk about the metaphor in a non-spoiler way. And I want to kind of call out here that as I think you're a woman, I'm a man, I think you have an advantage over me in this debate because your perspective on this is, based on the next topic I'm going to introduce, like, is the metaphor specific to just women or is it universal? Like, is the metaphor, this is how women are treated, or is it about how people in general, the younger body writes checks, the older body has to cash? And I don't think that gives anything away about the story.
I think that it applies to everyone.
Oh.
I wouldn't, I would say that it's the looks piece of it, the beauty piece of it applies more to women, but you'll see even now, like Brad Pitt just got a facelift.
He did?
He did. And if you look at pictures of him now, as opposed to just a couple of years ago, you'll see that he had a very nice facelift done. It's very tasteful, and it's been done.
Well, I feel like I have to defend that because the girl, the woman who plays Starlight on The Boys got accused of having a facelift because they did what you just described with two different pictures.
Would you call that facelift? I think that's an entire...
They said she had some sort of plastic surgery or something,
yeah.
And to me, that's people's medical decisions. Obviously, that could be one of them, is their own. So whether or not Brad Pitt did, Tom Cruise.
But men are doing it, is what I'm saying. But I think here's the deal, though. I think that men are held to a different inequity, or whatever you want to call it, in that it's money for men, whereas with women it's beauty. And so men are considered losers maybe if they don't have enough money. And there could be a completely not great looking man in their 50s, 60s, just like there's, women in their 50s, 60s. And if he has money, all of a sudden he's somebody. And as opposed to a woman in her 50s, 60s, if she's not beautiful or young looking, it's the same sort of rubric that's put on them. Do you know what I'm saying?
If a man is poor in his 50s, that sucks. If a woman isn't as youthfully attractive in her 50s...
It's about the same, isn't it? Would you say that as a man?
I'm not in my 50s.
I would agree with that statement.
Would you?
Yeah, I do think
I would agree with that.
That is a trend. I guess where I want to try and debate you, movie baiters.
Yeah.
With the Farx brothers.
Go for it.
Yes. I do think it's specific to women in the sense of, then because of the way you've described, if one of the things that I think the metaphor could be is about plastic surgery and how if you look at the trajectory of the movie, I would say the end state is like Michael Jackson late in life. And obviously we know Michael Jackson had various plastic surgeries done, and some of them might have been because of being a performer. Like the other metaphor this could be is external validation versus internal validation, how you seek it.
Right. With Michael Jackson, that's a sad story.
Yeah.
I just feel like he had issues and he went too far. And there are women who go too far, obviously, too. So I
will name none of them because I don't know. Everyone's beautiful except Michael Jackson's dead, so we could use him as an example and his feelings won't get hurt. What are some of the other... okay, so I want to get... baited on if my metaphors are off.
I don't think it's a metaphor for plastic surgery.
Okay.
I can't say anymore because that
was
spoiled the movie. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Another one I think it could be is she's suppressing herself in some way. She's like, oh, I'm not good enough now simply because I guess that would go to external versus internal validation. Because if she had some internal validation, she wouldn't go through some of the journey? Or you disagree, agree?
No, I think her character is lonely. She has no one. And all she has is these other people on the outside looking in. And if all she has are these people that are telling her she's not young enough, she's not pretty enough, she doesn't cut it anymore, she's over the hill, whatever she's getting from her external people that are working with her, we never see that she has a friend.
Yes.
We never see that she has family that are checking up on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
crazy.
the neighbor, you know, is yelling at her. Like, and I think she's lonely. She's kind of depressed, and she really hates herself. Obviously hates herself, throwing things at her pictures, and I don't want to give anything away.
Okay.
But like, yeah.
I'll go one last metaphor. So I think that the other thing that this could be, the whole movie, because it's got a weird setup, you know, of what if you could take something that would give you a younger version of yourself. I don't think that spoils anything. So could that be a metaphor for our addiction to scientific advancements and technology, but our inability as primates with nuclear weapons to handle such great, you know, power? We have godlike technology, but lizard brains practically.
The premise is too vague to go into that kind of metaphor, because we don't really know how much, we don't know that much of the science that the movie gives us. It's just the cell is going to split and you're going to make another younger version of yourself. That's it. There isn't that much technology spoken, so I don't think.
Correct.
Yeah,
and they
it
leave
talks
the
about it that
technology in the hands of the person who buys it,
Yeah.
which is scary.
I
All I think is, like, I'm just watching it thinking, she's going to get infected. She's going to get an infection. Oh my gosh, she's going to get an infection.
Well, clearly there is an
does.
infection, which we'll save for spoilers.
Right.
As someone who may or may not have taken two things you could buy in the store over the counter on New Year's Eve and then was absolutely certain I was in a simulation that was trying to make me accept death, I believe that, yeah, we should be careful with what we let people have over the counter.
Yeah, but is that more a metaphor about addiction, or is that metaphor about technology, though?
Well, okay, so would we agree she has addiction in this movie to something?
Yeah, I'd say she has an addiction for sure. Yeah, maybe for validation, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, let's discuss the absurdity of the movie without spoiling it, because I think that people have reviled, like, people don't like the ending. Are you yay or nay on the ending without spoiling anything?
I liked it.
Okay, cool.
It made sense.
My father, who I recommended this movie to, he found the ending absurd, and I was like, so you didn't find how they do the whole thing to be absurd, just that was absurd to you. And your friend Jennifer, who you mentioned in the interview several times, lovely Jennifer Prettyman, former guest of the show, linear listeners know, she hated the ending and said that made the whole movie trash for her. I have
I would agree with that, yeah.
I mean, it did tie it up in too neat of a bow for me. So it starts there, it ends there.
Yeah.
It was full circle, and it made the point that stardom is fleeting. Stardom is fleeting, and the whole thing of trying to be somebody that you're not really.
A female comedian that I'm friends with made a joke about Harrison Ford. And obviously all of us in this room know who Harrison Ford is, but Zillennials were like, who?
Right.
Yeah, who's Harrison Ford? It's like, hey, listen, the Red Hulk's coming out. Don't worry, you guys are going to figure it out. And maybe Harrison knows that. I don't know. But he crashed too many planes and needs to keep making movies.
I feel like he doesn't care, though. I feel like he just doesn't care.
I don't care. I wanted to be a carpenter. Yeah, I don't know.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
That was pretty good, actually.
That's how you do Harrison Ford. It's just normal gruff talking, and if you're doing Clint Eastwood, you talk out of the side of your mouth.
The other side of your mouth?
Well, no, it's the Harrison. It's the whole mouth. It's just
Oh.
Yeah. This is an impression show sometimes. How did you feel about the? Okay, so I guess what can we debate on the absurdity? I think that I can sense that you made a great argument for it fitting for you. You felt the same way Jennifer Prettyman did.
I think
Kirk.
it moved away from the metaphor and it crapped over itself. I think it ruined what it was going for.
Okay, well, we'll save some of that for spoilers, but we know that you and Jennifer agree. You and Lori disagree. I agree with you, Lori. So we're going to beat Kirk on this. Color theory. Did you have any strong feelings towards the color theory? I can run down. So I made a list while we were watching.
I love I hope if they get an award, I hope it's for set design and art direction, because I really loved the visual, the color, just even the apartment was really, really cool. Like, everybody wants to live in that apartment, right?
Well, I mean, not by
Not
the
in
end
that
of it,
bathroom, for sure.
Not at the end of it, no. But yeah,
I get it, yeah.
the colors had, of course, again, with this writer-director, every color had meaning. Every scene had meaning. Every little, every portrait that was the size of, bigger than life size practically. Every portrait was giant for a reason.
Would you agree that? Oh, I don't want to.
No, go ahead.
Would you agree that Demi Moore's color was yellow, and then that was shown through like the eggs, her coat, and Margaret Qualley's? Obviously, their names were Elizabeth and Sue. Elizabeth is Demi Moore, and I'll try to use that, so we use the character name. I know you as an actor would prefer I use the character's name than the actress's name, correct? Or actor's name?
Right.
Yes. Okay.
But we're talking about the actual movie, so you can use the character name.
Okay.
I really hate the name Sue. I'm sorry.
What? Wait, why do you hate the name Sue?
It's not young. It's not a young name. Sue is like an old name.
Yeah.
I don't know. As soon as she said Sue, I was like, is that a joke? Is she joking? So I wish they would have used a younger name, like a more trendy name.
Would you switch them? Make Demi Moore Sue and make Margaret Qualley Elizabeth?
I mean, that could work too. Elizabeth is kind of a classic name.
Okay.
But Sue, come on.
Okay. I don't really have a strong. I wouldn't name one of my daughters Sue, so I guess that's my
Right.
strong. Wait, you have a strong feeling about the name Sue, Kirk?
No, I just don't know why she chose Sue. There was
Right.
no reason for her to pick that name, right?
Right.
Not like her middle name.
I think it was because the character that, and again, this is in the setup for the movie, the character that comes out of the other character, the character with more syllables is the originator of the second character.
Wouldn't she
Sue.
have gone by Beth then? Wouldn't that make more sense? Half it? Where does Sue come out of Elizabeth?
Because Sue is a new creation, and as we will discuss in the spoiler section, a separate entity, I believe, from...
So but the rule is she and her are one.
Correct.
The rule they all say in the movie is that they're just one person.
Right.
I don't
they
have
are.
a good counter to that at the moment, so I'm going to talk about the colors red and blue. Things that were red. The hallway was red. The blood was red. The bottom of Sue's heels were red. The landline was red. So I think of like blood, hallways, and landlines. Those connect things. And then blue things. The apartment was blue. The eyes of several men in the movie were blue. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but...
The carpet in the movie was pink, though, wasn't it?
Oh.
Or did she change it?
Oh,
when the
okay.
younger one, when Sue took over, I think she changed it.
She does change the furniture at some point, I believe.
Because the carpet becomes pink.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember, and I just watched it last night again, and I can't tell you what the color. I couldn't even told you that what you just said. Why do her eyes change from green to blue? Do you think? And I don't think.
I think just because Margaret Qualley's eyes are blue, and they want. I don't know. Maybe they thought blue was better than green. I've been thinking about that. I don't know.
Okay. What did you think at the beginning when, and this is in the second shot of the movie, when the fast food gets spilled on the Hollywood Star?
Oh, at the beginning.
At the beginning. I'm not talking about the end. I'm just talking
Right.
about...
I've walked down those streets a million times because I live there for a month at a time, and it happens all the time, and it's a dirty, dirty place.
Yeah, I've been there. It is super gross.
Yeah.
Especially at night.
When you go there as a tourist, you're expecting one thing, and what you see there is just a circus of dirt and people trying to sell you stuff.
I think that the French are making a comment on us that we have a consumerist culture and we are gross. And that consumerism in the way that you're agreeing with me, Kirk is not agreeing with me.
No, I can't say without spoiling the movie. I don't know. I don't think it's about consumerism, though.
I'm going to argue for why the ending works, because my father found the ending part where something is happening, just so you guys know what I'm talking about.
I know.
He found that absurd. And I think the movie sets it up throughout, was, I guess, my argument. Did you find all the men in this movie to be disgusting, or would you make an argument for Fred? He's in the first act, so
I know. Oh, I watched it with my husband, and he really thought Fred was sweet. And I'm like, no. And
okay, yes, excellent.
No. And just him dropping, I don't think I'm spoiling anything, dropping his phone number in the mud and then not rewriting it.
Yes. Okay.
I don't think he had any respect for her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have. How would I bait it the other? What did your husband say?
He thought he was sweet. He was a sweet guy, a normal guy.
Oh, I meant when you presented this debate to your husband. How did he react to that? Was he convinced?
I didn't really debate him that much on him. On Fred, I was just asking his opinion.
Wait, what debates did you get into with your husband over this movie?
So his whole thing was, this is not a new concept, and I don't want to be beat over the head with with women's issues. He's very traditional. Yeah.
He has daughters, though, doesn't he?
He does.
That's where my interest comes in, is like how women are treated and how the feminist movement moves towards egalitarianism, which I hope is the goal. I can't say, but
Right.
Equality versus necessarily like getting revenge on people. Tell me more about what that is that your husband was saying.
So, I made the point. We did have a sort of a debate.
Excellent.
So normally in America, we have these movies that are spoon-fed to us, like the Marvel movies. Are very almost plotless. It's just all this action, and there's a guy or a woman who saves the day against some evil villain, and that's it. That's the end. And everybody's like, "Yay, hooray!" And that is something that we can beat that idea over the heads of Americans a million times over, because it's a feel-good thing. But when we're trying to teach someone sort of a lesson, men in particular do not want to be beat over the head with it. And that's what this movie is. It's very specific. It's very symbolic. It's very, this is horrible. This is something that we should not put up with. This is wrong sort of stuff for 2 hours or however long it is.
Mm-hmm.
He does not like that.
Okay. I read into it attacking a similar theme a bunch of different ways, not to disagree with someone who's not here. And one of the things that movies do for me as a person coming from a small rural area, similar to you, as well people will find out in the interview, is that it transported me somewhere that I did, so I could build empathy for people that live in cities, because I didn't live in a city. Movies helped me before I had a more adult, healthy relationship with many women in my life, but specifically my wife and now my children, helped me build empathy for women, because things are different. I'll give you an example of your friend Jennifer Prettyman. Again, former guest of the show. Kirk and I were with Jennifer recently, and Kirk witnessed me saying this is something about like, you're an actress. Part of your business is being out in public. So I bet you people send you weird messages a lot, especially guys who think they have a chance. However you feel comfortable am I close?
Especially with social media. Yes.
Yeah. So like the door to me was like a metaphor for social media. Hey, I'm Oliker, just saying hey.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that metaphor?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And that was part of what I said about Fred.
Hell yeah.
That he hasn't seen her for forever. He's treating her like a piece of meat almost. Like
a prize to be won.
A prize to be won. Yes.
I learned I was wrong on a previous episode with actor Alex Rumsey. We talked about A Knight's Tale, and I was like, why would she do that to Heath Ledger? And she's like, well, everyone else came in and said, I want to be you're a prize to be won. So she wanted him to treat her not like just a prize. So she made him change his way of being. You remember the movie A Knight's Tale?
It's been a long time.
It's been probably 20 years. Any thoughts on the close-ups throughout the movie? Like, what is the director trying to say? Can we debate anything? Like the flies, the prawns? I'd posit, I guess, that like it's not just that it's the French looking down on Americans. It's like a director looking down on humanity in some way, and that's why it's so over the top.
Right? Are you talking about Randy, or not Randy? Dennis Quaid.
Randy's brother.
Randy's brother, which is so weird because they look nothing alike. I think that she just. We'll talk about men maybe in the spoiler section.
Sure.
But boy, she does not like men. at all in this movie. Like they're written like they are terrible, don't deserve to live sort of thing.
I will bait you.
There's not one man in the movie that is shown in a good light.
Sure. Since we're going to argue her intent, do you have a thought?
Well, I just feel like they're almost caricatures too. The men are a little too evil. I guess that's Hollywood.
They're
it's
over the
realistic to
top.
Hollywood,
They are
yeah.
over the top.
But it's almost like a caricature.
And there are men like that, but not, to that. I mean, there are no men in this movie that are good.
I'm going to debate the intention of the director, which we cannot know, and probably she's smart enough to have not said, so that her movie can be interpreted a multitude of ways, thereby helping it sell more. I could argue that the cinematographer said that they are intentionally trying to shoot it like a 90s movie with the male gaze, except flipping, the way female characters have been written by men in sort of a trite way, or not having... You referred to Marvel movies as plotless, not having the same decency, or like the men in this movie don't have decency, and women in movies you could think of from the 80s, I'm sure, or 90s, didn't approach, I don't know, they didn't give them the grace they should have, so they're not giving the men the grace they deserve. Her previous movie was called Revenge, and it's a rape revenge movie, so I don't think it's necessarily that she hates men, it's a critique and beating them over the head because they wouldn't get it otherwise. The broader populace, I don't know.
Right. And that to my husband's point.
Okay.
Yeah, he felt like she was beating him over the head with this, with her morals, her values, her stance.
How did he feel about Promising Young Woman? Did he watch that?
I don't think he did.
Okay. This is a weird question because this is how I think about it. Like, what is your husband's relationship to how like men see your daughters? Because that's something I think about for when my daughters grow up, and like I want them to have seen a movie like this to think like, don't be a douchebag, like avoid being a douchebag.
He hasn't said a whole lot. One of our daughters has a longtime boyfriend, and we love him.
Great.
So
Yeah.
he's sweet and treats her very well. They haven't always had boyfriends that have treated them well.
And I'm sorry to hetero assume your children.
Yeah, yes.
Heteronormatively assume your children.
Right,
Yeah,
they
that's
are. Two girls that, have had boyfriends. And so, and he hasn't gotten involved too much in their personal lives. So.
Would you recommend that as a parent with, the different age children than yours? Not that I'm asking you the age.
Yes and no, because I found out some things after the fact that I wish I could have intervened on their behalf.
Okay.
They did learn a lot, but I wish I would have known, so I could have somehow helped.
My wife and I talk about like watching movies as a way, not just building empathy, but as like see how it worked out and see how that's worked out that same way in multiple movies. What's that tell you? It's probably a reflection of how that worked out in reality. Not that movies are reality, but that you can get something from it. So we agree on let's take a while. Oh, just since you mentioned Dennis Quaid, Ray Liotta was supposed to be in this movie, but he dropped out. Do you think Ray Liotta would have been better?
No, Dennis Quaid rocked that part. I think this is what I think about Dennis Quaid was my favorite character, and I hate him. Yes. I hate the character, but I love that Dennis Quaid played him the way he did. I think what happened is every time he came into a scene, he would do it, and then she would have him do it again. Let's just amp that up a little bit, she would probably say, and then they would do it again, and then she'd be like, hey, let's just amp that up a little bit more, and until it was just crazy, because his character was obviously not a reality character. It was...
Well, he's called Harvey. I would argue that he's a facsimile for Harvey Weinstein and like what that culture in that business has done. I
won't give the table scene away, but in this section, but that wasn't real. That was so over the top. So over the top.
You're talking about his first scene with her?
His scene in the restaurant where he's
eating the prawns?
Yes.
That's in the preview, so I feel comfortable talking about that.
Yeah. I mean, they come in to his mouth and he's making just the showing of the table after he was done. Who does that?
There's lots of different people who are
my goodness.
Well, like Harvey Weinstein was a big heavy guy who probably ate a lot, so.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's just Harvey Weinstein. My question is, what about the other people that are like that or enable that?
Let's see. I wrote down some other people that could have played that role. Christopher McDonald from Hacks. It plays Jean, what's her name's boyfriend or love interest.
Sorry, I know him from Happy Gilmore.
Okay.
He's in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, he could totally play that part.
Yes.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why he was the Iron Man. Anyway, that's a debate for a different show. And then somebody who just rubs me the wrong way, John Hamm. I do not like him. I do not like him.
Did you just watch Fargo season 5 or something?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I just don't like him.
Start watching Landman. That'll really screw with your head because he's dating Demi Moore in that show. He's in a movie. He's on a TV show, Billy Bob's, right now on Paramount. With my wife and I are watching it. We're both into it. We don't understand why. We don't watch Yellowstone. I'm watching Tulsa King. I won't go into it. Is this body horror? Kirk said it wasn't.
I don't think it is. It's body horror light because it kind of only happens at the end.
Right.
Mostly.
I thought that too.
Yeah.
And they can call it whatever they want because of the gore that happens, I guess. But is it like fantasy more because of the science piece of it? Is it
So absurd, you mean?
Yeah.
is it sort of a thriller because it's psychological in that respect? Horror is horror light, I would say.
Yeah. I wouldn't even call it a horror movie. Probably psychological.
It's real life horror, maybe.
The worst kind. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess this is where I'd say it's a little bit too long. If it were a little bit tighter, then it would be more of a thriller. And as far as a horror, yeah, I agree totally with that. It's a horror, or that it's horror adjacent, but not exactly what people think of. It may be elevated horror. There's a bait with you guys. Maybe it's elevated horror. It falls into the like Midsommar kind of category.
I mean, another vein that we could go down is this even a new concept? It's not. Is it original even?
What do you mean on? What do you mean on?
Like we've seen this before a long time ago. Shallow Hal, for Pete's sake. Right?
Yes. Tell the argument. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Black Swan could be another one that was semi-horror. It's not a new concept, so to speak. I like that there is another movie that we keep it in front of us so that we keep talking about it and it's still being noticed.
My wife just came in, so we had an edit point. And I Googled what other movies this is similar to. So Lori, tell me if you've seen this. Kirk, tell me if you've seen this. The Fly?
I haven't seen it.
Oh gosh.
Jeff Goldblum?
A long time ago, yes.
I watched it on a plane. I know you like to watch most of your movies on planes when you travel.
Yes, that's true.
See, I did listen to interviews of you today.
Because I have time.
Malignant, did you see Malignant, either of you?
No.
No, I saw that the first 10 minutes.
Oh, it's James Wan's wife who wrote, I can't remember if she directed, I think he directed it. Titane, from the lady who made Raw. Did you see Raw?
I saw Raw, but I don't remember that much about Raw.
Okay. Black Swan, which you brought up, Lori. Very
Yes.
good. Did you see Men from the guy who did Civil War?
No.
Okay. Neon Demon? Okay, that's fine. What other movies were you thinking this was similar to?
Well, Black Swan is probably the closest because it is horror-ish, horror-esque, and it has to do with similar concepts. So I would say that's the closest.
Okay. Well, let's end the non-spoiler session on, I said section said session instead of section.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
I like calling myself
Me
out.
neither.
I like the director's previous movie, Revenge, but it would go to the point that you guys made about how the director doesn't like men because all the men in that are terrible. What do you want to outro us?
I'm not gonna put that against her though. I mean, if that's part of the movie, that's part of the movie. That's fine. I just don't like it being so over the top that it feels like a caricature.
Well,
you know?
I guess none of her movies pass the Bechdel test. So from another angle,
Some movies that do pass the test doesn't mean it's a good movie. So the test can be
Lori,
whatever.
is
it
that
could be.
okay for him to say?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
You can say no.
Kirk can say anything. People love
Thank you.
him.
Let's end on that. Yeah, the love I have. Yeah,
I love you, Kirk.
I love you too.